Do you ever wonder why certain movies are simply a disaster? Are they truly garbage? Or perhaps they are misunderstood?
Welcome to the main course of cinematic catastrophe that is Le Crap, with your gourmet, Chef BRI and Chef GIO.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Lay Crap. My name is GIO.
And my name is BRI, and we're doing things a little bit different because, honestly, this is probably our most ambitious episode.
Yeah, so, as most of y'all are probably aware, it's America Month. So, on this 250th anniversary of all things America, we thought it would be a neat little idea to, highlight a certain star-spangled man with a plan. So, we have a few projects lined up about everybody's favorite red, white, and blue Boy Scout, Captain America. And this one in particular is really significant because, really, without it, a lot of what we have now in terms of like the MCU and comic book projects, they wouldn't be around without this. Now, it's really no secret to anybody that we're living through what many would consider to be a golden age of comic book adaptations. Whereas back in like the 80s or 90s, somebody would look at a comic book movie and just kind of point and laugh at it a bit like, huh, look at this piece of nerd media.
Yeah, and then you have stuff like Spawn that tries to be like so overly edgy.
Oh god, we're gonna need to cover Spawn someday, aren't we?
I mean, hey, me loves Keith David.
I mean, who doesn't? But particularly in these last couple of decades that we've been going through, we have been, especially when it comes to Marvel movies, getting banger after banger after banger to the point where watching a big MCU movie isn't seen as just like this niche nerdy thing. Now it's almost required viewing. Well, at least in the 2010s, it was required viewing. Like 2020s have been more hit or miss for the MCU.
Yeah, that post-Endgame transition has been a little rough.
But particularly in the 2010s, we just got so many just majorly successful productions, not least of which, of course, being Endgame, just resetting all kinds of financial records.
Not only that, but, Best Picture nominations. Like, these movies have won Academy Awards.
Like, if you had said that about any comic book movie pre, 2008, people would have looked at you as nuts.
Oh yeah, no, 1,000%. But we really, I hate to say this because it sounds generic, but really, this is the one that started it all. And one of the things I wanted to do on the show is focus more on classic cinema. And I can't think of anything more classic and part of the golden age of cinema than the serial.
Oh, yes, the Serial movie. Now, some of y'all might be wondering what a serial is. So, to explain that, let's head over to part one of my notes. I had a bowl of Republic cereal for breakfast without any milk.
Damn.
Yeah, getting into the salty spittoon with that one. But in any case, serial films, also known as chapter plays, were a popular style of filmmaking back during the early 1900s, with the golden age of the serial considered to be from 1936 to 1945. Some well-known examples of serials that came out during this time would include The Lone Ranger, Buck Rogers, The Green Hornet, and several entries featuring Zorro. Many of these serials would later be remade during the 2000s and 2010s, and most of them would turn out to be very, very awful.
Very, very awful, and some of them might be future additions to the show.
So, serials were episodic features that each lasted around 15 or so minutes, featuring a hero character who would overcome a villain's many deadly traps and henchmen while rescuing a damsel in distress. Each episode was screened for 1 week and would end with a cliffhanger where the heroes found themselves in a seemingly inescapable crisis. Viewers would then have to come back the next week to see the resolution. Now, this form of filmmaking was especially popular with children, and a typical Saturday morning or afternoon matinee during this time would have involved going to see the latest episode of their favorite serial, along with a couple of feature-length movies, as well as cartoons and newsreels. Because back during this time, the movie theater really was a get-everything kind of a deal, and not just sitting down to buy some overpriced popcorn, sit down for 2 hours.
Yeah, because a lot of people forget, like, I know this sounds, like, dumb to say out loud, but yeah, radio existed, but there was no TV, at least in a commercially viable way, for, like, a couple more decades. I mean, yeah, there was theater, but again, a lot of this is we're coming out of the Great Depression. The movies were an affordable escape and form of entertainment for a lot of Americans, especially.
Oh, how the times have changed. But in any case, serials remained a very, very popular medium well into the late 50s. But it was around that time where episodic TV series started becoming normalized, which pretty much made serials obsolete. Not to mention the fact that a lot of the older serials were starting to show up on TV, so really wasn't commercially viable to start making new ones. Now, the three companies who were most responsible for making serials were Columbia, Universal, and part of our subject for today's video, Republic. Republic, which was also known as Repulsive by Hollywood detractors, was known for making serials on the quick and inexpensive, but were often praised for their action scenes and cliffhangers. They were also, however, a bit notorious for making adjustments when it came to adapting media. Speaking of,
Yep.
Part 2, Grant Gardner, Agent of Gun. So, what we have here today, folks, is the 1944 Captain America Republic serial, a 15-episode black and white series, and the first ever live-action film production about a Marvel character.
It's just crazy because I think in a lot of ways people think Marvel's just been around like a lot longer than it has. And when people think Captain America, obviously, they think of the Chris Evans version because these were done in like the early 40s. It's even crazier like when you think about it. Captain America as a character had only been around for like a couple of years versus like a Superman or a Batman that I guess at that point have been, in the public consciousness for like a decade.
Yeah, like by the time this was starting to get made, Captain America was really only a thing for about 3 years, which is insane to think about. So, before making Captain America, Republic had already made a number of serials for Fawcett Comics heroes, including Captain Marvel, or as you all would probably know him today, Shazam. And they were approached by Timely Comics, which was the name that Marvel went by back in the day, to give a treatment for their then flagship hero, Captain America, who by that point had only existed for about 3 years. The result of this was the priciest serial Republic would ever make, coming in at around $223,000, or roughly $4.2 million in today's money.
Which, especially for back then, is like so crazy. That's like quite the high level budget. Like, that's almost bordering on like what Walt Disney spent on Snow White.
Yeah, because that might seem like chump change nowadays. Like 4.2 million probably wouldn't even make you half an episode of a Netflix TV series today. But yeah, for back then, that was quite the hefty production. And wouldn't you know it, it would also be the last superhero production Republic would make.
Oh no.
Now, while reception to it by the general public was positive in that they enjoyed the action sequences and the overall drama and cliffhangers of the serial, fans of Captain America, as well as Timely themselves, had a very different perspective on it, because, as I had alluded to before, the project had several radical differences from the comics, to the point where it was nearly unrecognizable. To begin with, Cap's secret identity is no longer Army Private Steve Rogers, who was subjected to the super soldier serum that gave him his enhanced strength and athleticism, but instead a district attorney named Grant Gardner. No, not to be confused with the Guy Gardner Green Lantern. There is no mention of sidekick Bucky Barnes, then love interest Betty Ross, or his archenemy the Red Skull. And probably the most confounding part of all this, despite the fact that this was taking place during the height of World War II, and despite the fact that there were other serials at the time featuring the Nazis, there is no mention at all of the Nazis. Which, if you know anything about early Captain America, seems pretty insane.
Yep, that is certainly a choice.
Now, there is also no mention of a super soldier serum. Rather than the classic red, white, and blue costume he is known by today, the costume was actually black and gray, which were colors that were easier to photograph and film at the time. He doesn't have the trademark wingtips on the side of his mask, and he's wearing dress shoes and a shield belt buckle. And there's the key word there. Shield. Do you want to know what else is missing from his repertoire?
Oh, is this a multiple choice question?
Probably the most iconic part of Captain America. Yes. Grant Gardner does not have the trademark shield. Instead, for his neutral special, he wields a gun.
The most American of weapons. You could even say it is the embodiment of America itself.
Now, I'm not saying that this would go on to inspire when Bucky Barnes became Cap, like in the late 2000s, and he was wielding a gun, but I'm not saying it.
Yeah, the chances of it are not zero.
Hey, considering the fact that this serial gets referenced a good bit in the comics and in modern movies, I wouldn't put it past them. Now, as to why it gotta be this way, Republic made the argument that the sample pages Timely had provided them lacked pretty much any and all crucial information, such as his civilian identity and his weapon of choice, and that even if they were instructed of that, they were under no contractual obligation to follow the comics in any case.
Oh.
Now, there are some theories as to why it is as radically different as it is. Since Republic had done a lot of previous work with Fawcett Comics, some film historians speculate that the film was adapted from a script meant for another Fawcett hero. In this case, Mr. Scarlet. Now, much like Serial Cap, Mr. Scarlet was a crime-fighting district attorney whose secretary knew his secret identity. One of the episodes of the Cap serial was titled The Scarlet Shroud, despite nothing scarlet appearing, which has kind of strengthened that theory. Now, due to the fact that this was taking place during a time when there was a very large shortage of able-bodied men in America, the role of Grant Gardner was played by a short and stocky actor by the name of Dick Purcell. The miscast was only accentuated by his stunt double, Dale Van Sickle, being noticeably taller and more in shape. There are some sequences where you could clearly tell they made the switch because Cap appears to lose 15 pounds.
Oh dear.
Now, on a sad note, just 4 months after filming wrapped on Captain America, Purcell actually died after collapsing at an LA country club at just 38 years old, with some film historians believing that the strain of filming Captain America proved too much for his heart. Now, as I said before, 80 years later, this serial is still getting referenced in comics and adaptations. I mean, the 2011 Captain America movie has Chris Evans starring in a serial. It was officially re-released in theaters in 1953 in several markets and proved quite popular in Turkey, where certain homages would arise. But that's a story for another day. So I am itching to see what this thing has up its sleeves, because we have seen TV or film serials being referenced in quite a lot of modern media. I mean, if you ever see like a cartoon make a gag where it turns black and white and you have like a lady hogtied to a train track as a train is approaching, that was pretty much a serial staple.
I mean, even more modern. I mean, it's not as modern now because, oh my god, that series is going almost 15 years old at this point. Bolin in Legend of Korra, him starring in serials was, a pretty significant B-plot in that show. But it's just so funny to me that, and this is the best part. This is in the public domain, so Disney, you can't fucking go after that, so fuck you. I kid, but also not really. But to me, it's just so funny that for as popular as Captain America is, like, yeah, if you're a nerd in the comics, it's referenced, but it's actually kind of incredible that a lot of, I hate to say the word, but like normie, like comic book fans don't really know about this.
Yeah, it's a shame because even though it wasn't really as influential on the comics as say the Batman Republic serial was, I mean, the Batman Republic serial, I mean, not the Republic serial, just the Batman serial is pretty much the reason why Alfred Pennyworth looks the way he does is because he was altered to more closely resemble the actor. A practice which is still being done to this day for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and just the historical importance of this, I'm kind of surprised more people don't know about it. I mean, yeah, it's old, like over 80 years old by this point, but it still has that historical importance in that it is the first live action feature about a Marvel character. I mean, it even precedes the Marvel name.
I know, like, how much more OG can you get? Alright, so Gio and I are going to go on an extended excursion. We're gonna binge all this, and when we come back, we'll give you our thoughts.
I'm afraid the district attorney won't recognize Miss Richards when he finds her a withered mummy.
The commissioner's been alibying his failure to turn up anything in these Purple Death murders.
You remember the commissioner and I have cleaned up crime waves in this town before.
Yes, that mysterious Captain America did most of your work for you.
I feel certain that this new crime wave will bring him out of hiding to help us. Where's Gail Richards?
Well, you'll never find her.
Oh, say, can you see? And the rockets, red flags. Uh-oh. I'll make up for it now. For the land of the free.
Did he just hit puberty in the middle of that?
I don't know. Okay, so I feel like, I don't know about you. I feel like this sums up our thoughts pretty well. Just one long, and the rockets, ray glare.
Oh, God. It had been too long since I last heard that.
I was between that or Fergie. Fergie's is bad for, like, a very specific reason, and also, it came up in, like, my Blue Sky feed. The original version of Let's Get It Started, which, by the way, fun fact, the only reason that specific version of it exists and not the original is because of the NBA. Because they wanted to use it in promo, and, say let's getting R-worded here is like, the NBA was like, no.
No.
The craziest thing about that is the original version of that song existed for like a year. There was no radio edit until the NBA said, hey, this is a good song, but can we, like, get rid of the R word?
Honestly, correct, Paul. So, anyway, Captain America.
So this is going great. Honestly, I wouldn't even call this, like, a full train wreck, at least compared to the things we've watched, but I think this is one of the more weirder ones we've watched.
Yeah, and you might be able to say, well, it was just standard for the time, but, like, it's still really, really kind of bizarre. And probably the strangest thing about it is the fact that this version of Captain America has absolutely nothing in common with Steve Rogers is the least of the issues at hand here.
Yeah, like, honestly, if you just take out the Captain America name, I think a story like this is fine, and I will give it credit. The first couple of episodes were fine. But then you notice something a lot of times. Repetitive, even.
Yeah. So this issue probably wasn't as noticeable back then because there was, a week between every single episode. But once you watch all these back to back, you start to notice that pretty much every single episode follows the exact same format and goes the exact same way. We get a little bit of expository dialogue. We've got some action scenes. We've got some some really repetitive fight scenes. And then it ends with our heroes being in some perilous situation where you don't know, oh god, how are they going to get out of this?
Especially the explosions. Like, honestly, this probably is the most explosions we've seen per capita since the Marine.
Oh yeah, like, Michael Bay probably has a DVD copy of this thing lying around somewhere. But yeah, I don't even think there's a point to go episode by episode just because every episode is pretty much the same.
Except for the last episode. Oh, we've got to talk about that, but let's just put a pin in that for later.
Yeah. Like, as this serial goes on, like, every episode, it feels more and more like they just start throwing logic out the window.
And, we're talking about, like, logic. And, I know comic book logic is a thing, and especially for comic book movies, there has to be, like, some sort of suspension of disbelief. And this isn't just, like, a Marvel exclusive thing. For, like, any sort of, like, big universe in general, you have to have, like, somewhat of a consistent form of logic. In the Marvel universe, having, like, the X-Men be mutants or whatever, and things like Sentinel makes sense within, like, the universe that they're in. But there are things that happen here that I think you and I were both scratching our heads saying, we went from, like, grounded reality to, like, fucking nonsense in, like, a nanosecond.
Yeah, so, as we had previously established, there is no mention at all of a super soldier serum, no indication at all that our good Mr. Gardner has superpowers of any kind. I love how he doesn't even make any dramatic entrances, he just politely comes to the door.
He just spawns.
Bro, you had your gun on these two unarmed guys and they still took you out.
Like, bro, maybe you should look at another career.
Well, I mean, he's already the district attorney, so you'd think he'd already be financially set up.
You would think. But it's like, the weird thing is, like, what makes one decide to do this? Oh, holy shit! But I have to appreciate the conveniently open window. Oh, are they gonna make out? Because this is like some intense pillow talk.
But yes, despite the fact that he supposedly doesn't have superpowers of any kind, like, he gets into so many fights. Like, every single episode, he gets into, like, an on-out brawl, but just seems to shake it off like nothing. So, the basic gist of this is, Captain America in this is Grant Gardner, a crime-fighting DA, trying to stop the evil machinations of a fella named the Scarab. Every single episode has some plot by the Scarab to, I don't know, steal money or steal some kind of machine or a scientist or something, and then Captain America shows up and foils the plan. Most of the time, these situations are relatively grounded, with pretty much everybody in this having a gun, and the fights are...
Oh, there's something.
We'll get to the fights.
They are
We'll get to the
something
fights
else.
in a bit. But everything is, for the most part, at least a little grounded. I mean, aside from at one point the Scarab showing this, like, hypnotic suggestion, it's...
I mean, that's more like 1940s, like, tropes and, like, Pulp Fiction stuff. Purple Death.
Purple Death.
What does that even mean? Does it mean, like, people are just deprived of oxygen?
Like a man due to drive your tower to the cliff.
Well, we're starting off with a bang. And also, before we go on, I think we have to question the Scarab's motivations, because honestly, he's one of the most confused villains that I've heard of. I honestly, watching all 15 episodes, I still can't fucking figure out what exactly his plan was. But the one thing I do know is that they love saying Mayan.
Oh god, that's right. So, the Scarab was part of a Mayan expedition with a bunch of other, scientists, explorers, and other such folk. And I guess his whole reason for, being evil is because he planned the expedition, but everybody else got the credit and the fame. And he just has the lowly job of being a museum curator. It's like, dude feels pretty well set. I don't know what his deal is. But the other thing you realize very quickly is, and I don't know if the pronunciation was not really well established back then, they keep pronouncing Mayan as Mayan.
At one point I joked that it was the Mayonnaise expedition.
But his motivation of trying to get revenge on all the other expedition people feels way over the top. All right, you want to steal their money or steal their possessions? Okay.
Do a little light murder?
But Mr. Scarab does not just do light murder. I feel like half the population of whatever town this is was erased by the end of this.
I guess it's supposed to be Los Angeles? Because I actually looked this up when I watched, because I was curious what year the Perry Mason books that would later inspire the Raymond Burr series came out. Turns out it was a few years before this, and apparently Warner Brothers did some not so successful attempts at doing theatrical Perry Mason movies, so I almost kind of wonder if the idea to do a DA character is just something that was popular during that time, and maybe trying to ride the coattails off of Perry Mason a bit, because that also happens. So I'm pretty sure this takes place in Los Angeles.
I mean, it's definitely possible. But the plots really start to feel over the top to what his stated motivations are. If he just wants to embarrass or steal from the other expedition people, okay, but this feels way, way over the top. It feels like half the city is leveled in this series.
In quite literal ways, because the first episode, a bit of a terrorism happens, which, by the way, I do have to give them credit for this, for the production crew. Some of this miniature work is really impressive. And especially some of the composite shots. There's this one shot where there's a building collapse. And it looks really convincing.
Yeah, that kind of effects work does look really, really good, especially for the time. And it's something easy to notice because there's at least one explosion every single episode.
Yes. They're fun explosions. You know, the weird thing is, I don't hate this costume, it's just not a Captain America costume.
No, not at all. There's just something so off about it.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Lee Falk's The Phantom.
I was gonna say, I'm getting such major Phantom vibes from this.
Oh wow, that escalated quickly.
The vibrator. If it isn't shut off, the building will collapse. Get out, I'll try to stop it.
Yeah, that's a powerful vibrator.
Oh shit, they're actually taking it down, damn! It is an orgasm that's to live in infamy. Oh, holy shit!
But what I was getting at is most of the time the serial approaches things with realism, no real mention of superpowers or anything like that. There's a laser, but, still nothing too egregious. Until we get to the latter stages of the serial, where the Scarab's plot involves the theft of a resurrection machine.
And you and me both went, what the Shonen Jump is this shit?
No joke. The Scarab's one of his main enforcers, dies. So they kidnap a scientist who built this resurrection machine, and they bring him back to life with no ill effects.
And here's the crazy thing about that is that they act like this dude is so important that he's the second in command. I honestly couldn't tell him from the other people because he dies so unceremoniously. Oh, but we'll get to this more when there's a fight. But usually, these fights go two ways, and it's there's the setup of these fights is so the same that I was like, oh, wait, that's who that's supposed to be?
Yeah, because pretty much all of the Scarab's henchmen are dressed exactly the same. That same, mafioso suit and fedora outfit, which I think this is a good time to bring this up. How is it that the Scarab managed to assemble this level of a criminal empire? I mean, he's got legions of henchmen, he's got all this wealth, he's got access to, firearms and all these other weapons. It's how does a museum curator get all this?
And this is the thing for me. If you already have this criminal mastermind character, because he's almost one step under from feeling I know they wouldn't exist for a few more decades, but a proto version of Hydra, but just making him this freaking dorky museum curator. And then to acknowledge that he's evil, occasionally he'll wear a monocle.
Oh yeah, just in case you weren't entirely aware of his moral alignment. But I do feel if this thing was made 20 years later, this would have been Hydra. But when I was talking to you about this, I used the example of the Kingpin. You can believe that Wilson Fisk can build a criminal empire because he's an expert on the legal system and business and all the other things you would need to build a empire like that, along with the public image of a successful and wealthy businessman. You can believe that a guy like this is secretly a criminal mastermind. Where does a museum curator get those kinds of connections from? It just doesn't make any sense.
But it also adds credence to the theory that originally this wasn't a Captain America script, but they just kind of filed off the serial numbers and did Mad Libs on this.
Yeah, 100%, because we brought this up before that this is as non-Captain America as it gets, to where I was questioning, why is Grant Gardner Captain America? Why a patriotic image and not something entirely different?
There's nothing America about this, which is the strangest thing. Because at the time these came out, let's just say it was a hyper-patriotic time in this country. Yeah, just to say the least. And it was cool when we were doing research. I think we said at the beginning that the suit was black. So it turns out, and this is the thing that kind of made me laugh, the suit itself was really a dark navy. Ironically, it was closer in color tone to the later era Chris Evans Captain America costume than the OG color palette. But when you see the suit in color, it's really weird that they didn't choose to have the stripes be a darker shade of gray so that it being a flag would be more visually obvious, which, side note, a lot of the times, especially in the later half, some of the lighting's not great and it's really hard to follow what's going on and everything just kind of looks black and gray blobs. But it's so weird. Oh, I didn't even mention this, but you pointed it out to me. On the poster for I think the premiere episodes, he has the little wings on the side of his mask, but that's not in the costume there. It almost feels at times it's embarrassed to be Captain America, and the only reason they did that costume is because Timely paid them the money to do so. It just, for something that's called America, do they even mention America outside of his name at all? Is there anything to do with patriotism? And just to go off your point that Grant, for being a district attorney, He doesn't really say anything about, like, law, justice, the American way, blah, 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 blah.
Like, there is no mention of, like, patriotism or really America at all. And it's like, why is this the mantle that he takes on? Like, it just doesn't really seem to fit. And, like, going back to the poster, it's like, yeah, the wingtips are on the poster, and, like, you could see, like, while not one-to-one, it is a lot closer to the comics colors. But, like, I can excuse that as, okay, it's a black and white film. You could just suspend your disbelief and imagine that it's in the colors of the flag. But, like, the wingtips being missing is a little, huh. But, like, it's really bizarre that this is the route they went on, because, honestly, he feels like he has more in common with Daredevil than Captain America.
He really does. He's just like Matt Murdock without, like, the Catholic undertones.
It really does lend credence to the theory that this was made for another character entirely, and they just slapped the Captain America name on there at the last minute. And going back to what we mentioned before about the fight scenes in this,
Ah, yes.
there is at least one fight scene in every single episode, and they all go exactly the same way.
I mean, yeah, there's a couple move variations, but we went through, like, a couple episodes. We were waiting for where's the barrel roll? Where's the barrel roll? There it is.
It's like every single one is Captain America fighting at most two thugs. And there's like maybe one or two occasions where he only fights one, but almost every episode he's fighting two guys. And like every episode where we saw it was two henchmen on the screen, we were like, oh, I wonder what's about to happen now.
I'm surprised she didn't get captured yet.
Give it time.
Oh, we have another sped up film bum fight.
Also, I get that the sniper is a long-range weapon, but you have a gun. Why is your first instinct to take a swing at him instead of, shooting him?
Yeah, I don't think they're good at their job.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a body count. Well, it's my gun now, bitch.
Finders keepers, as they say. Also, they changed it up a little bit with the fight in that it was just one guy this time.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they were running out of money?
God, what an image.
Get your hands up, Matt.
Holy crap. Why a rock? No, so where'd they find this random-ass cave?
Oh, well, we're back to two guys.
That's good while it lasted.
Yeah, why only have the one barroom fight in this ep? We could have two.
Extra action for your 10-cent admission.
And like every single fight goes the same. It's the same moves, the same like setup. It's like one of the henchmen throws like a heavy object, like a barrel at him. Cap ends up on his back and flips one of the henchmen over, or like does a leaping double kick. They all go precisely the same, and dare I say, Grant Gardner is less super soldier and more guy at a bar who's gotten really, really rowdy. And every fight is that same clumsy, like barroom brawl-esque punching the crap out of each other. And the thing about that is it really doesn't make him look all that impressive when just these like generic henchmen and even sometimes scientists have the exact same fight moves and like fighting skills as he does. Like this is supposed to be like our superhero, and he's getting like
his ass kicked,
punched and kicked around by basically the level 1 enemies of this.
It's actually kind of crazy. And then also the fights look consistent but also inconsistent. Because sometimes you'll see them, like, film at, like, normal speed, but then there's parts where clearly they're speeding the film up. We couldn't quite figure out if that was to make either him look more like super powerful, but then we also kind of came up with the theory that maybe they sped it up to try to fit it into like, because by the way, the runtime of these things are almost exactly the same. They usually run about 15, 16 minutes, almost like down to the second. But it looks very weird and janky at times. Like, the first couple episodes, I'll admit, they look fine. But it's like, I think the turning point is maybe around like episode 6 or 7. And then you start to notice some a little bit lazy production choices, in my opinion.
Like, it does feel like they're doing a lot of things here to try to fit it into that 15.5 minute sweet spot. Because, well, the first episode was like, I think, like 10 minutes longer.
Yeah.
Every subsequent episode is like almost down to the second, the same length. And there was a point, I think, with like 4 episodes left to go, where they just completely do away with the opening credits and just like really shorten them down.
And here's another quickie thing. Cap, for whatever reason, is like on some sort of like turntable, lazy Susan device so he can look important. But like no one else in the cast is, so they'll be like him slightly rotating, everyone else will be like stiff as a board. You don't notice it at first, but then once you notice it, like you can't unsee it. But yeah, that entire opening sequence is gone by like the latter quarter of this serial.
And I mentioned this during the viewing, it reminded me of like the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure intros, where like in the latter parts of the season, the intro is like completely overtaken by the main villain.
God, yes. But you know what one of my biggest complaints about this is that for a serial, it's like surprisingly episodic. There's really no like super like hard connecting thread to any of this.
Yeah, aside from like Scarab being like, ooh, I've got such a beautiful plan, and blah, 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 Captain America, blah, 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 blah. It feels a lot like, say, like a crime procedural in that way.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I would compare it to something like maybe like The Mentalist, where like pretty much all of it is self-contained for the most part, but then there's also this underlying thread of like there is a central villain to this whole thing, just like lurking in the shadows, like creeping up every once in a while. Like there are common threads throughout this whole thing. It's just it doesn't really feel like a free-flowing story.
No, it doesn't, especially with the repetitive like structural nature. Like, not even just the fights, but just, like, how the episodes are formatted, like, in general, like, if they're, 3-act structure. If we have, like, the same formula again and again, then, like, what's the point of this being a serial? Because, honestly, you could go in one episode, come in, like, 6 weeks later. You wouldn't have missed a thing.
Nope. I mean, you could watch the first episode and the last episode and not really notice any difference.
Yeah, there's, like, no real, like, character arcs. I mean, again, I know we're talking about, like, serials, the storytelling levels may not be the deepest. Like, I'm not going to delude myself into thinking, like, otherwise. But even so, you have stuff that came way after this, like Star Wars, that's based off of serials. Luke clearly has, like, a character arc. So, like, clearly that's something, like, inherent with the genre. But there's, like, no character arcs or, like, growth. Like, the main villain's plot is borderline, like, incomprehensible at times. Like, you just can never get, like, okay, who is the Scarab as a guy? You don't really know any of these people. They just do the same thing week after week, and that's it.
Yeah, like, it almost feels like we were dropped in here, like, halfway through the story. We don't know anything about Grant, why he became a DA, why he became Captain America. Like, it genuinely feels like we were just dropped in, like, in the middle of a movie where like everything is already established and we're just going through the motions. I'm not expecting MCU level storytelling here. Nobody is. But like, you gotta give us something.
Again, this being a bad Captain America adaptation is like the least of its problem. The main problem is none of these characters are interesting. The story just honestly kind of sucks. It's like, okay, guy beat up, stop plot. Like, why should I care anything about what happens next? Like, what's the thing that, if I'm like a 10-year-old kid in like 1944, I have like my 25 cents for the week. What reason do I have to spend my money? Because once you see like the first episode, which honestly, the whole 25-minute things, at least, I feel like you get your money's worth. What point is there to keep coming back?
It's not much, is it? It's the same exact scenario every single time. Like, this really does feel like a cartoon between the fights and the explosions and the dumb plots. And I brought this up in the middle of the viewing that when you think about it, the original Scooby-Doo cartoons have a lot in common with serials when it comes to like the villain of the week or like unmasking the villain at the very end or like the damsel in distress, which, by the way, Grant's assistant, Gail, I want to know how much this woman's hazard pay was because
she's not getting paid enough.
He throws her into so much danger and she gets kidnapped so often in this. I will give them credit for at least giving her some agency, and also she has a body count.
Oh yeah, no, Gail rocks. Honestly, Gail's probably the best character here. Like, she's the only one I could say has, like, something going on for her. It might not be, like, an arc per se, but she does get smarter throughout the serial, and she does try to keep one step ahead of, like, the Scarab's flunkies.
Yeah, which, by the way, there's not a whole lot from this that translated over to the comics, but, fun fact, and this is just me being nerdy for a sec. So, you remember back in the early 2000s when Marvel did the Ultimate Universe of, like, kind of reinventing, like, all the characters for a more modern audience? Well, the Ultimate version of the Avengers, at least at first, was called The Ultimates, and in this universe, Steve Rogers' World War II era girlfriend was Gail Richards.
That is incredible. Good on you, Marvel. That's fantastic.
Yeah, which, in the course of that, when he wakes up from the ice, like, decades later, he finds out that she actually turned around and married Bucky.
Oh my god! Holy shit!
Yeah, in the Ultimate Universe, Bucky didn't... I think this was before the Winter Soldier was established as a thing. So in this, Bucky didn't die or, like, fall in ice or anything. He just lived and got old and married Gail. And then we find out later that after Steve had left for, his eventual date with the ice, that Gail was actually pregnant and that the baby would later grow up to be the Red Skull. Yeah, the Ultimate Universe got weird after a while.
Why don't I feel like everything, like, initially after Marvel's post-bankruptcy was just fucking off the walls? They're like, oh, well, we sold all our IPs, I'll just make some weird shit, I don't know. Oh, what's this? A dragon robot, call him Baymax? And, oh, by the way, the one character's superpowers is he could see, like, the spirits of atomic bomb victims, which, what the fuck? Well,
I mean, the Ultimates was the same comic where the Hulk's initial transformation was because he got pissed that Betty Ross was seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. with the actual line of Hulk want Freddie Prinze Jr. I am not making that up.
That's too dumb, because I've seen some of the shit you've made up. That is too dumb even for you.
No, I am not making it up at all. The Ultimate Universe as a whole is a really wacky story, but the Ultimates is probably the weirdest of them all. But that's neither here nor there.
Marvel doesn't have the balls to adapt that.
God. But, oh, now that we're staring at it, I forgot to mention, the recap cards.
Oh, yes. I know we're watching this in lower resolution, and this is probably never gonna get, like, a proper HD remaster because it is the public domain. But the one with Grant, it's like the weird thing. They almost look like headshots. Like, the way that they're photographed is, like, so fucking weird.
Yeah, so every episode after the first one starts with, like, a recap card of, like, here's this character, here's where we left off. And the one they use for Grant in the cap suit, he's just standing there with this goofy grin on his face against a background that looks like it belongs in a kindergarten class.
Like, he genuinely looks like he just showed up for his elementary school photo day, and that his mom is holding up a box of cookies behind him saying, "Smile, Grant, or you won't get your cookies."
And meanwhile, while he's making this face, this is the first episode recap. So this is episode 2. I have to, like, read what it says. And we're not lying. We're not lying about this.
I cannot believe we've made it this far without bringing this up.
Do you mind if I read it?
Please go ahead.
Captain America surprises the Scarab's agents, who have started the dynamic vibrator after locking Gale and the scientists in a vault.
No, y'all did not mishear that. So there's an assortment of, like, machines in this.
Yeah, some science-y machines, if you will.
Like, there's the resurrection machine, there's a laser cannon that they call the electronic firebolt, but the best of them all is the first. They started on a high note. It is an earthquake starting device called the dynamic vibrator.
And since, both Gio and I are clearly mature adults, we started giggling nonstop. Look at that grin.
Can we just pause on this for a sec?
Sure,
Can we just take this whole thing in? No.
That is certainly a look. You know what? He's going in the thumbnail.
Oh my god.
Just him just staring. You know what he looks like? The pose? He looks like the episode of SpongeBob where he's like the hall monitor and he looks like the maniac.
He's just standing there. Menacingly.
I mean, does he not look like
that? That stupid grin on his face. Oh my god. It's like he's posing for his elementary school photograph.
Oh my god. The dynamic vibrator. You know what? This whole thing just might be the thumb. It's already in a square ratio anyway. Because when we have dynamic vibrator.
Yeah, I think you just need to get our icons out of the way. Then it'll be solid.
Yeah, we should be able to get it. Actually, wait. Oh, I'm in Chrome. I could just screenshot this right now. I have the screenshot button. Ha! Done!
Yeah.
I love that Chrome extension. You know, his face looks like... He's like, yeah, I'm like that dog in the Chewy ad we just watched. I farted very loudly, and I'm trying not to be weird about it.
That is a Shaquille O'Neal-ass smile if I've ever seen one.
God.
I mean, like, even the background looks like something you'd find at an elementary school.
Yeah, it's like Timmy's second grade photograph that mom has to pay like $79 for like 2 like 4x6s.
And you know his mom is like behind the cameraman, like waving his little toy around to make him smile.
Meanwhile, his friends are like snickering in the background, like, "Oh, your mom's here."
Roasting this guy.
This poor guy who's been like dead for like 80 plus years at this point.
You know, I don't think we're gonna need to make any alterations to this.
No, it is perfect as is. Like, this is just an encapsulation of everything.
If we still have like 13 more episodes of this. Oh my god.
I cannot wait. Holy shit.
Oh my god.
This is gonna, I guarantee you, every episode it's gonna start like this.
Oh, for sure. Oh, please tell me they're gonna just use the same photograph every time.
I am pleading to God that they do.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue our... Okay,
we need it.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
It's like, we know different era. It clearly meant something very different back then. But, in this year of 2026, it means something much different.
Let's just say it's something that Arthur would tell his brother to use.
Oh, yes. And so, just this image of Grant Gardner with this goofy smile on his face and the words dynamic vibrator beneath him is.
I think we lost it for like a good 5 minutes.
Oh, we fell in love with this fucking image of him. It got to the point where whenever an episode started and it wasn't this picture of Grant, we would actually get legit upset.
I know, like, it became like, my comfort image.
God.
But, actually to go on the subject of, like, the title cards, here's, like, an interesting thing. So it's like, okay, we have the title cards, but then they recap, like, the last, 90 seconds to 2 minutes of the episode anyway. So it's like, why have the title card at all?
Yeah, because every single episode starts with, like, the last, like, minute and a half of the previous episode, just so you could see, like, how our heroes escaped from the inescapable death trap, which half the time it's just they walked out the door before it exploded.
Or they gently rolled away.
Like, not a whole lot of imagination on display there.
And you know what? That's kind of a shame, because for the things that aren't like an explosion, which, by the way, for the explosions, there's also a similar repetitive thing where all the explosiveness, like the countdown is based off like a timer or like some variation of like a circle, like some sort of like amplification of power. But we'll talk about our favorite explosion in a sec. But some of the effects in like forced perspective, like they're at a paper factory in one, and then they have like this forced perspective of like a guillotine, or they have it where Grant's, being crushed by, I think it was like a magnet or something. Like the shots themselves are actually like honestly quite technically and visually impressive for that time and that the budget that this had. I mean, a lot of it's probably, matte paintings and like, in camera tricks, because green screen and like stuff like that wouldn't exist for like a few more decades. So pretty much all of this had to be done in camera. But then when you just see them like, oh, we set up this fantastic stunt, and then they're just like, okay, roll out of the way. It just, I don't know, it kind of feels like a waste to me.
Yeah, like they set this up as like, oh, there's no way they're getting out of this. How the hell do they get out of this? And then the explanation is, oh, they just went out the door, problem solved. And it's like, okay, you had people sitting on that for a week in between, and then the explanation is just, oh, he just gently rolled away.
And if I was a kid, I'd be kind of pissed, because it's like, wait, I spent like my 10 cents for that?
Yeah. But I think we should really get into how this whole thing just kind of falls apart at the end.
Oh, yes. Let's just start with, because this is truly, honestly, the bomb of fate, if you will. And this leads to our favorite explosion, and one of our favorite images, which is probably going to go somewhere in the thumbnail.
Before we really get into it, we have to talk about how this really feels like the definition of an idiot plot.
Oh, yes.
Where everything in this serial is only possible because every character is stupid. Like, Grant Gardner is really not that protective of his secret identity. Like, at all.
I mean, everyone figures it out by the end. Literally everyone.
But, like, I don't know how being protective would really help, because it really doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Even at one point, like halfway through, one of the Scarab's henchmen was like, hey, don't you think it's a little weird that Captain America and the DA are like so like intertwined? Isn't that kind of weird? And the Scarab just brushes it off.
Yeah, and it's like, baby, no. And especially since, they don't show up at the same time. But here's the thing. Half the people he works with already know. Gail is very much aware that he's Captain America. And, like, she's pretty much his sidekick, more or less.
Yeah, and this is another thing that really repeats and kind of gets a little grating by the end, is how often the Scarab is just like, oh, Captain America is no problem here. I have a plan.
And the only thing I think of, like, whenever he says plan, is that one infamous meme of a fan sub of Death Note with Light Yagami saying, "All according to Keikaku." Translator's note. That means plan.
It really reminds me of that Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged episode where it was like the Bonds Beyond Time abridged, and you just hear the villain go, "Look, I planned this. Look, I planned this." But unfortunately, unlike that, the Scarab's plan doesn't involve playing a children's card game.
And also is somehow less aware.
It gets to be so grating where every single time he's like, "Oh, Captain America is no concern of mine," despite the fact that he is constantly foiling your plans. Like, there's being a cocky villain, and then there's just having no self-awareness at all. Like, he has foiled your plans every step of the way, and you're still like, no, he's not a problem. I have a plan that'll get rid of him for good. And it's like, bro, you are not Doctor Doom. You have not earned that level of confidence.
And also, I have to talk about, like, one of his plans specifically. And this is what kind of one of the first signs of, like, universe breaking. So there's, like, this car chase sequence where they're, like, I forget, like, what the exact specifics are, but he sees, like, a real-time feed of, like, this car from, like, behind. How's that possible in 1944?
Yeah, because drones wouldn't really see common usage for another, what, like 80 years close to it?
Yeah.
Like, how is this possible? We don't see that there's another car behind them.
Or a camera. Like, we don't see there's some sort of, like, radio transmission. We don't explain how this works. Like, at least with some of the other, like, science-y, like, machines, there's some sort of explanation. He just turns on a monitor, and he's able to somehow see in real time, HD, 4K, whatever you want to call it, a real-time car chase. Like, the news cameras wish they had this. Charlie, when he watches the police chases, wishes he had this.
It's like, how does he have this good of a view?
B10, come in. The robot truck is on the way to you. Be ready for it. We're set.
Yeah, I'm gonna say something really bad.
He's in the middle
I'm
of the park.
shocked, you know, if this was now, that robot truck would be called Elon.
Yeah. I was waiting to make a joke, but yeah.
Oh, look, it even has little lightning bolts on the side. Just to let you know, it's a high-tech truck. Even a cybernetic truck.
Committee will take care of you later. Time up. Start it up. Professor Dodd is going to have an unexpected visitor.
Also, I call all kind of bullshit them having these kind of monitors in, like, the 1940s.
Yeah. And also the remote-controlled truck, honestly.
Yeah. God, how many of these guys get shot in the stomach? Like, honestly, I can't imagine a worse way to go out. Aw, oh, damn, is this how he gets his motorcycle?
Just wearing it underneath.
I guess so. Holy crap, like, his balls must be, like, steaming. Holy shit.
Also, wait, wouldn't they have seen him changing into it with their cameras, or was it, like, out of view, conveniently?
I think it was conveniently out of view because they're using the cameras to go to the professor's house. Because the last shot that the cameras was on was, like, the street view. Which, again, I don't know how that works. Are we gonna jump on a truck? Oh, hell.
Captain America, give me that wheel.
Again, how do they have, like, a shot of them tailing the car? Like, drones aren't gonna be invented for, like, another 70 years.
Yeah, like, wait, if they're driving the truck, then wouldn't the camera just be, like, from, like, the front of the truck?
Huh. See? No, but it's like, where's the camera?
Space looks so weird from that angle.
Oh, shit!
Jesus! Yeah. I said this during the watch along, but it definitely gets stupider with every episode, culminating in the conclusion to the fairy tale.
Oh, yes. But I forget which episode, but it's clear to the end. The scarab, let's just say, has had enough of failure. And he decides to take matters into his own hands and drops a bomb, if you will. It's like an actual literal bomb. And the goofiest face that he makes.
Oh, yeah. I think this is like the second to last episode where Captain America is in a house and the scarab like flies overhead with a plane and starts dropping bombs on the front lawn. Which, again, how does a museum curator get this? But
And this isn't like out in the woods. This is like in the burbs.
I don't even think Cap having his identity exposed at the end matters because the town's population is probably dropped by like at least 70% by the end of this.
Yep, threw something at him. It's like the guns in this thing are so useless. They just throw random shit at him and it just disarms him like that.
Oh my god, they're legitimately actually gonna drop a bomb on the house. Holy shit. You know, the setup of this in this specific location is reminding me of Terror of Tiny Town.
Oh god, that's right.
The things that make you watch. There we go. Bomb release.
Bomb release. Bro, you just completely missed.
Yes, they're gonna turn around. Boy, this is like escalating quickly. What about the poor assholes that are in there?
You missed again! Oh, but he has 3 levers, so I wonder if the third one's gonna be the direct hit.
I wonder. What a mystery.
This is our last bomb. We mustn't miss.
I hate to break it to you, dude, but I think driving with an explosive truck could be more effective than a plane. But also, how's
Right on his face. Wait, go back.
Okay, hold on. But also, like, how is this dude, like, acquiring all these items?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, this dude runs a museum. How the hell does he have this many bombs, this many guns, this many explosives?
Oh, here, I'm gonna try to get this. Hold on.
Oh, wait, no.
Dude, I have to
that's
go back
the one.
a frame.
That's
No,
the one.
Hold on. I have to get it. Hold on. I'm gonna get it. Damn it! I keep missing it. Hold on.
It only lasts like a second.
I have to just go. Okay, so it's this 15:05. Okay. Got it! There we go.
There we go.
Screenshot that bitch.
That's the good one.
We got it. Alright, good job, team. Alright, we're almost ready for this last one. What is this last episode even called? The Toll of Doom. Ooh.
Like, just on screen, there is like a massive body count.
Oh, yeah. Like, some of these deaths are like, I mean, a lot of them are silly. I remember there's one guy, he gets like shot in the stomach, and then he has like a delayed response of like, oh, it's my cue to die. He holds his stomach, and then he conveniently falls on like the little dynamite trigger thing, you know, the thing that looks like a pump, you know, that you see in like Looney Tunes or shit, and then poof, explosion.
Yeah, and also, everybody who gets shot in this, which is a lot, gets shot in, like, the chest. Like, despite how much gunfire is going on, like, they never get struck in, like, the face or, like, the legs. It's always the chest.
Yeah, or they'll make that, you know, goofy-ass sound effect as they're, like, thrown from the roof. And it's like a dummy, which, by the way, those dummies delighted me. I got excited when I saw them. Like, oh, there's the dummy. It's coming. Let's chuck it.
Oh, yes. Like, don't expect, like, modern techniques in this. It is, like I said, this feels a lot like a cartoon. And I think there even was one instance where like somebody struck against something and it just went. "Boom."
Oh, that's right. There was. But yeah, I think it's time, for the end of our fairy tale, as you say. I think we really, if at any episode we have to analyze the last one.
Oh, yes. This is where we go from idiot plot to drooling Neanderthal plot. So, after Cap survives the bombing, of course, they realize that, well, first of all, by the end, the Scarab doesn't even care about hiding his identity anymore. Like, he just kidnaps people and, like, shows them his face. Like, I am the Scarab.
And you're like, oh, wait, it makes so much sense. I'm like, no, it doesn't.
They kidnap Gale for like the millionth time. They put her in this machine that would like mummify her, I guess.
Yeah, that it would mummify her in real time. It's just, I don't think we've elaborated enough. This gets really fucking dumb.
Cap shows up to the Scarab's office, and like, of course, the Scarab has like deduced his real identity by this point, and then they engage in their one-on-one final showdown.
Which, by the way, is incredibly underwhelming.
It's just another clumsy, clunky fight like all the other ones. And it's very, very obvious when they switch the Scarab's actor because he is an older fellow and yet is still managing to fight at the same level as our crime fighter. It gets so dumb.
Oh, yeah, but don't worry, it gets dumber.
So he punches the crap out of the Scarab, saves Gale. They throw the Scarab in jail, and like I guess like Grant's identity is like publicly known now.
So it's like, okay, what's the point of all that? I'm like, oh, thank you, Captain America. It's like, not like the secret identities, like half the shit, like just doing that just makes like half of like what happens here like really not fucking matter.
And then we learn the Scarab's fate.
Oh, yes. And this is my favorite part. So, in a Cinderella-like fashion, I don't know if it's New Year's Eve or, like, what the specific occasion is, but they dropped the line of, the Scarab and his associates will be in the electric chair at the stroke of midnight. And then, of course, you hear the clock tower go, bong, bong, bong. And then they all chuckle. Ah, his brains are blown up, and he's probably burnt beyond recognition. Aren't we great people?
Yeah, so the villain that we've been with for 15 episodes dies off screen.
In the most unceremonious way possible.
Which, by the way, I don't know how quickly trials go in this universe, but it basically feels like they beat the Scarab, throw him in jail, and then they immediately execute him.
And it's like, execution. That just seems like a real Captain America thing to do.
Which we're not going to say it's not warranted because, like, it feels like he destroys half the population of this town. But it happens really quick.
Yeah, and also, by the way, we didn't even mention this. He starts out as a serial killer. So, like, it's not like he didn't have this coming. I mean, say what you will about, like, the death penalty. But this guy was, like, dangerous. Like, he took, like, and this is why, like, it's kind of incredulous that no one really figured it out based off of this. So there's, like, this poison flower that you would have to go specifically from, like, South America or whatever to, like, get this extract called the Purple Death. If, Grant was a good DA, that would have kind of indicated, like, oh, it must be someone involved with, like, the Mayan, whatever you want to call it, expedition. But then as it goes on, like, there's really nothing, like, in universe that would, like, indicate that the Scarab was the one behind it. Like, I forget what the Scarab's, like, actual given legal name is. But it's, like, you're almost, like, two sides of the same coin of, like, this should have been a fucking obvious. But also in a universe, there's not, like, enough clues for, like, Gale and the rest of them to come to this conclusion that, oh, wait, we should probably be investigating this guy.
Oh god, you know what I just remembered? This was the really stupid part of the last one. It's how Gale conveys that he's the Scarab.
Oh, yes. Can you elaborate on that for our lovely listening audience?
So they give, I forget what the occasion was. Like, I think maybe it was like the henchman dying or something, but they put out the name of like a fake surgeon who's supposed to be coming to like,
Oh god, I completely forgot about that.
to like fix up the beaten henchman. And so they give a fake name, and the guy who comes in, you know, he works for the Scarab and he's using that name. And then,
Oh yes.
but the way that they figure this out, because Gail is the one who came up with it, we find out that the name of the doctor that she came up with is the backwards spelling of Maldor Scarab.
Oh,
and that's
God. I completely forgot about that till you brought it up. Which, by the way, we should probably mention, the series are like 4.5 hours. Like, we broke this up into multiple days. Like, there is no way we could sit through this. Like, we could always through like 1 4-hour session of like Ben and Arthur. We can't handle all this.
it brings up there are so many questions about this. Like, if Grant could look at that name and immediately figure out, oh, it's Maldor Scarab backwards.
Like, he could have taken that into a mirror of the bathroom and he would have been like, my God.
But, like, if Grant could figure that out immediately, then how does a supposed criminal mastermind, who runs a museum, by the way, not be able to figure that out?
It's like, you'll never guess what my password is. Is it password 123? Oh, God damn it!
All right, the combination to the safe is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, but you're right. Legitimately, that is like one of like the dumbest things. Like, it could have at least been like an anagram or some shit, but nope. Literally just the name put backwards. Like, this is so dumb. Like, a kindergartner could come up with a better secret name or whatever.
I think that's the point where I was like, okay, no, there's no saving this.
Yeah, no. This is, like, honestly, most of this, like, the first, like, 60-ish% of this is fine, but that last 40%, man, it goes downhill, and it goes downhill quick.
It feels like they couldn't really figure out, like, how to wrap this thing up.
No, they really couldn't.
Oh, man. Oh, should we talk about the part where, like, I didn't realize that I was not able to see?
Oh, yeah. So, like I said, we filmed this over, like, the course of a few days, and I think it was our last session. We were, like, trying to get through this. We're like, okay, we gotta get this done. And then, see, I'm usually good about this shit, but I kind of fucked up a little bit, so I have, like, one of those Touch ID, like, keyboards for the iMac I record the podcast from. And I was trying to move my mouse and I'd accidentally, like, locked the screen for, like, a nanosecond and then I unlocked it. Unbeknownst to me, if you do that, that stops screen sharing. So for, like, 4 minutes, I was, like, not talking as much and then I started to suddenly talk again. And then you realize, oh, God, because I guess you thought my internet had, like, crashed or something, but then I started to talk, and you realize, oh my God, I've been watching this by myself for, like, the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, because, like, you just got really, really, really quiet for, like, an uncomfortable few minutes, and I was like, is she okay?
Am I choking on Kim Possible AI art again?
And then you just start talking again, and I was like, oh my God, like, I haven't heard you for like the last few minutes, and then you started talking about the episode. I'm like, wait, have you been watching the episode this whole time? And you were like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I've just been sitting here for 5 minutes. Like,
just look at Grant Gardner's face. Which, oh yeah, we saved that beautiful image as, like, our background for our StreamYard setup.
It's...
So I'm imagining you sitting in your room in, like, dead silence with the glow of the phone. Just, you know, utter silence as this dude looks at you. And then I randomly spawn back in, like a ghost.
It's like I was sitting there quiet. I was like, okay, do I want to say something? Like, maybe she's, like, going through something right now, so maybe I shouldn't say anything? anything? Like, I was just waiting for you to say something, like, and then you just speak back up like normal. Like, girl, where have you been?
There wasn't much happening on the screen because literally I just hit like my touch ID, which doesn't completely lock my computer like if you had something running. So I was like, oh shoot, I did it and I did it. But I didn't check to see if the little screen share button was on in Chrome. Guess it wasn't. Whoops, my bad.
Well, it led to an iconic moment anyway.
Honestly, that might have been the most exciting moment of that episode. Because I think that's why I was so quiet, because it was just like, okay, alright. Oh, is this happening again? And then I forget what specifically happened, but it was like really a random what the fuck moment, so that's why I started to get chirpy again. Oh, look. 2 of them.
Wait. Are you watching?
Yeah, no, I'm watching.
Because I'm not seeing the feed right now.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Hold
That's
on.
why you were going silent. Oh my god. The thing just closed and then you just went silent for like a minute. Like I thought something was wrong. Have I just been missing the whole freaking episode? Oh my god. Oh my god.
You know what I think happened was, I think I accidentally locked my computer screen and I think that stopped screen sharing.
Oh my god. I thought something was wrong in the last 5 minutes. Like I thought the stupidity of it had just hit you that badly that you just closed the screen and just went silent for a minute. What the fuck?
Okay, we have to include this in the episode. Because what happened was, I was trying to move my mouse because I was looking at, like, an email, and I have, like, the Touch ID keyboard, so I had accidentally hit it, but then I had unlocked it. But I guess, unbeknownst to me, that closes everything on StreamYard.
Oh, boy.
Okay, well, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go end where the recap is, and we're just gonna start there. Because I don't know. Oh, but we are definitely referencing this.
Oh my god.
This is the content we needed, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
It took me 5 minutes to recognize. Oh, wait. Because, like, I was gonna ask, why did you close it out? Like, is something wrong?
Yeah, because I didn't close the browser screen. Fucking Chrome, stupid. Anyway, we only have to go back like 2 minutes. There we go. But overall, like, honestly, like, I think for, like, a serial, it's fun. Like, if this is your first serial ever, it's just fun and solid. But I guess because we're both writers and we just watch a lot more stuff, we kind of, you know, pick up on the tropes and stuff more. This is, like, why, for me personally, it's kind of hard for me to read, like, Shonen Jump stuff with a few rare exceptions. Because, especially for Battle Shonen, like, I'm like, oh, it's this story. Huh. Oh, you're this archetype. But if you want something that's just kind of, like, quirky and just kind of like a gateway to maybe discover, like, older media, I would still recommend it. Like, I don't think this is a complete shit show. Like, I think, like, the first 3 episodes are honestly, like, really solid. It's just kind of a shame that it doesn't really hold up to the same quality for, like, a good majority of it.
Yeah, because once you start seeing, like, the patterns and, like, where it's going, like, okay, here comes the fight scene, here comes the repetitive bar fight level brawling. Like, the way that this was shown, like, back in the day, like, you would have had a week between episodes, so that would have been a little more excusable, but watch back to back, it's the repetitive nature really starts to become more apparent. Like, you watch one episode, you've pretty much watched all of them.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the case here. I get why Timely and later Marvel, like, weren't thrilled with this. I mean, I don't think it's a complete, like, tarnish the brand moment, but it just feels very much of the period, but I still think there could be worse ways to introduce and popularize a superhero to the general public. I mean, God, decades later, we would see some true travesties. But I think it's like an idea, like, a gateway to popularize, Captain America's character. I think they could have done worse.
Yeah, because bear in mind, this was made like 3 or 4 years after the character was even introduced.
Comic books weren't exactly, mainstream normie things that they are now. Like, even, they were like niche to the niche.
Yeah, like it would still be like 60 plus years until like superheroes weren't accepted like medium.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, comics and superheroes at that point had, more in common with, like, pulp fiction and, like, serialized, like, written stories, like your John Carters and stuff like that.
Yeah. So for what it was, it's fine. I mean, it is like very tropey, but like for a first attempt, because remember, this is the first live action rendition of a Marvel superhero, they could have done a lot worse. And like just in like the past few years, we've seen a lot worse.
Oh yeah, which even for like the MCU itself, and I had told you about this like off camera. To me, like it is the funniest thing on the planet, and just shows like how long animation takes. That spoiler, if you aren't caught up in X-Men 97, tune out here. So, in the MCU, they tried to make Kang a thing. Jonathan Majors was an idiot, among other things, but that's not the core reason why the Kang stuff is dropped. It's just the way that they set it up. It wasn't gonna work. And then Quantumanium bombed. It was just like a lot of like bad decisions upon bad decisions. You wanna know who turns up in like his earliest incarnation in episode 3 of X-Men 97? To me, it's incredible that, ironically, a serialized cartoon is probably doing Kang's storyline better than, like, the multi-billion-dollar MCU. Like, I can't.
I mean, granted, X-Men 97 is providing a more true-to-form X-Men story than we're probably going to get with Doomsday, which...
Yeah,
that is a...
Like, Doomsday is a thing that is for sure happening. And I'm sure, Sadie Sink is going to be a great Jean Grey. I mean, come on. Like, between, like, the force field and trailer, she's fucking Jean Grey. She has the red hair. Like, I don't think they're going to do, like, another red-haired Gwen Stacy. Like, I don't think that's happening. If she's not, call my bluff out on that. But I just think, like, they're kind of screwed. Like, because X-Men 97 is, like, so good, and that's gonna be the only thing that's compared to. See, unlike, this, there was really, like, only the comics to compare it to. The Chris Evans Captain America films wouldn't exist for, like, another 65 years. But, yeah, I just found that sort of ironic and funny.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like when you look at this and then compare it to like a lot of the later iterations, because there would be more attempts at live action Captain America.
Oh yes, some we were reviewing quite soon, actually.
Yes, some quite soon. But like when you look at like even just like the costume design, like I don't think it would be until like the 90s Captain America where they finally like at least got the costume and everything right.
Yeah, where he would get like legit wingtips, which, hey, at least in First Avenger, they had the wingtips for promo shoots, but in actuality, I get why a lot of these adaptations cut them out, because they are kind of impractical.
Yeah, something that would work in a comic book doesn't always translate to live action well. I mean, just look at how long it took to get yellow costume Wolverine.
That wasn't like a 3-second cameo at the end in like a suitcase.
You just see that kind of a gag from a mile away, right? Where like he like looks at it for like a few seconds and then goes like, ugh, not in a million years, and then just throws it away or something.
They're not going to do it, but I hope if one thing in Doomsday they have him in the OG costume, even if it is for like only a few minutes.
God, Doomsday is going to be such a shit show, isn't it? I've gone in depth with you already, like my problems with like the way they're putting the X-Men into the MCU now. Like, I just cannot go over that again.
No, some things are better left unsaid. I mean, I understand, but I think before, a time where even the Marvel name existed and, there wasn't 7,000 continuities and like universes and things got super duper complicated, this was a more simpler time. And I think for like a simple story and just a little piece of like cinema history, like not just the MCU, but like the extinct genre of like the serial, it honestly makes me want to seek more serials and like classic stuff out. So, for that, I think we can give Cap, a little tip of the hat there.
Oh yeah, definitely. We know that this thing would go on to inspire some other things that we are going to be looking at later.
Oh yeah, so by the way, if you couldn't already tell, that's a spoiler or a little preview for next episode, which is gonna be Turkey, Captain America. Yes, we are finally hitting the mystery genre that is Turkish knockoff films.
Oh boy, yes. And it is actually going to be the perfect segue between Captain America month and Spider-Man Brand New Day, because Turkish Captain America is also known as Turkish Captain America versus Turkish Spider-Man. God, I cannot wait to see this travesty unfolding.
And I can't wait to see all that red, white, and blue on the screen. But until our next cinematic adventure, Gio, where can everyone find you?
So you can find me down at the old Blue Sky Mines at captainstarbolt.bsky.social. I talk about my OCs, I talk about my Oshis, and I will occasionally post about, weird screenshots from whatever we're watching.
Oh, yes. Which I do partake in that a bit myself on my Blue Sky, which is at crazylemur.bsky.social. I'm also on Instagram at Lemur's Rule, one where I kind of post some other weirdness about me, but it's mostly more normal, like most of the time. But anyway, thank you for joining us for this very special episode of Late Crap. We'll see y'all next time.
Oh, of course, his solution is to just shoot at it.
Like a true American.